I'm live here with one of my gorgeous students, Avanti, who has been very brave tonight. We were having a great chat on the phone. I was just chatting to her about her personal experience attending my recent Learn to Channel course. And I thought it might be a great opportunity to share the reasons why she decided to learn to channel and what she got out of it. So if you've been considering what it means to learn to channel and whether it's for you, hopefully this chat with Avanti will help you to make that decision, or at least to answer some questions that you might have about channeling. So I'd like to welcome you, Avanti. Thank you so much. It's quite nerve-wracking getting on and also offering to help demystify some of the woo-woo.
Yeah, hopefully I can help because I feel like that's where I was at before diving into the course. And that's probably one of my biggest gains. I think the clarity of it all, that's what I went in wanting. And that's definitely what I got. As with Reiki, I felt like I was guided to this on my spiritual journey, which I feel like is quite new. And I knew this was the next step. So when it came up, all I was filled with was questions and, what exactly is happening? Like I thought it's a bit like a romanticized version of something. You think these things from movies or wherever you get these ideas, but it's not the type of thing I could turn around and ask friends and things like that. And there was definitely a trust aspect with you, Lisa. And it's definitely what I got. I felt really,
Just to give a little bit of a timeline, you'd actually done my Reiki training beforehand. So it's not imperative that people learn Reiki, but I think sometimes it gives you that solid foundation about energy, about understanding the chakras. And so for you doing the training, did it give you some kind of foundation that made you want to learn more about your intuition, Avanti, or was that something you'd already been doing when you came to the channel course?
for me, it's all about looking back and seeing how I got to where I am on my spiritual journey. My big make break process was when I had my daughter and was laying sick on the floor. So when I kind of came out of that, I knew that I was rebuilding in a certain way. And with the Reiki, I don't even honestly know how I got there. I was definitely guided there. I was definitely guided to you specifically. And I can see why very I I'm there's a lot of practicality to me, and I do need, even if it's considered spiritual or woo-woo, as some call it, I now realize that I appreciate the structure and your insights. But yeah, there was definitely, a proper course going through like step by step because I was sitting in a room even with Reiki of, ladies and yeah, they were guy who knew about crystals and different angels. And at that point, I wasn't there yet. So I was sitting there thinking, is this for me? And the story sort of slowly started to unveil. And I finished Reiki 2 in 2019. So little did I know what 2020 had to offer. But I felt like it really concreted where I was at because I knew I was in this transformational space before, but now I had all these tools to deal with all the bombardment of the rest of the world as well.
Growth and change, hasn't there? And I think Reiki as a tool and a system just gives us this sense of stability and being able to, to really come back to that sense of self and that love and that compassion that exists within the soul. And it's such an important thing. And I think the system of Reiki makes it easy, doesn't it? Just to kind of tune back into the seat of the soul. And I know for me, and it was probably the same for you, was that once you start to get a taste of what this intuitive world is like, it's almost like a door to this magical and mystical world opens and you kind of pop out and it's like, oh, what, there becomes this thirst for more knowledge, more understanding, and also deeper experiences on a spiritual level. And I know that the Learn to Channel can feel a bit woo-woo for people. I know even in the class that you were in with me, there was a couple of students that didn't know Reiki, hadn't done Reiki.
Yeah.
Also you who had done Reiki. There was a couple of others that probably were on the spiritual journey 10, 15 years. So they were kind of well experienced, but just again, looking for the education, but also that support in deepening the connection with their guides and really learning all the different ways we can channel and how it can benefit us in life. So I was really conscious about that when I pulled this course together. I really wanted to give solid, intelligent understanding to this mysterious world of energy healing and of spirituality and who are our guides and how do we connect with them. I really knew that people knew they were there. They had a sense that there was guidance there, but they just wanted more of that concrete knowing and more experience to trust in the messages and the guidance that are coming through. When we get the energy of the group, something magical takes place. I remember specifically there was one night when you channeled the most incredible message, and it wasn't just for you. And that was I tend to not tell my students what's coming up. I don't let them get too much in their thought preparation about it because otherwise they're too active. So I'll usually do a little bit of a trick. I shouldn't be giving away my techniques, but kind of a little guided meditation where everyone's really comfortable. And then my guide Anya will come in and will guide them through a step-by-step process to and for this particular one, it was the automatic writing. Do you remember doing that?
Yes, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
After you got that message through and when you shared it with the group? Because it was literally a jaw-dropping.
It was, yeah. It's like, am I really reading these 5 sentences that have now changed my world? Yeah.
Just pure love and so profound and I think this is what I love about spiritual messages is they just cut to the point and give us words and wisdom and understanding in ways that we couldn't come up with ourselves. Did you
Yeah,
find?
and also knowing that there's no, well, it is a relationship, but it's not a two-way relationship. There's no give or take. They are here for our greater good. And that's amazing because I think for me, that connection of talking to someone and working through all of that. Sometimes when I am working on the intuitive side of me, it's hard to verbalize those things. And I then feel like I'm unsupported or I second guess myself. And this was my tool to really align and trust myself. I knew there was, and it's been a phenomenal journey. I actually did think that I thought Reiki was more of part of my service to going forward. But I found that the channeling has really sort of added a whole different layer. Yeah, I've had some beautiful experiences since finishing the course.
Have you? Yeah. So I love that. I love that once that definite knowing's been created with your guide and you have that visceral experience, which it happens because there's this group energy dimension where all the guides come together in the room. My guides come together, and there's this shift in consciousness, and it's a collective of the group. And what I feel is that we all ride on each other's energy. There's this beautiful harmony that takes place. And, we build that energy over the 6 weeks. So we're building trust. We're connecting every week. We're sharing the benefits we're getting. We're practicing at home. There's guided meditations that I've pre-recorded with my voice, and Anya comes through in my guide to help just to facilitate that pure place of connection. And, I think the biggest thing is we get these intuitive messages and they feel and resonate. But where it really becomes solidified for my students, I found is when everyone in the group sits there and just goes, oh my God, that was, and they give you that feedback because then when we unpack, what did that message mean to you? And quite often they'll share with you personally what they got out of it. And I think that's what guides do. They bring messages that are general of nature, but everyone can find their own meaning in it. And usually it's profound. It's loving. It helps us to break barriers and to shift and change and release fears. And I think the evolution is being our best self and discovering how to love ourselves more. Once we do that and we find that level of self-comfort and self-love, we then have that as a gift to offer to others. I really do think that I have this big vision that in the future, everyone will channel, everyone will have a deep connected relationship with their guides. It will be weird not to have that a divine guidance that they tune into for their own well-being and for the well-being and the love of those who they are closest to. I believe that people will tune into channeling in order to develop that creativity and to connect with that inspiration and to feel into who to employ and to feel into what move we're meant to do next, whether it's a business move. And I know you're very academic and you come from that level and that side of understanding things from a very practical mind. This is what I love, and kind of why I wanted to talk to you, Avanti, because people I love helping the most are those that are used to working in their mindset and in their intellect and just breaking through into this creativity and the spiritual side and the feminine energy. When we bring this synergy between the left and the right brain and we find this harmony, we work with the mind and the ego and we work with the spirit and the soul and that broader perspective. When we can do that, it really anchors us and up levels us into a different kind of energy. And life just seems to become miraculous. And I found, and I don't know if you found some similarity with me, but it's just, have you had synchronicity events just kind of line up, even just this conversation and how it flowed? And it came directly from my guides to call you and connect with you. And it because the time's right. And there was nothing in the way to make this happen. It just flowed effortlessly.
It did flow. And yeah, I've definitely, when you talk about, well, when I was saying that Reiki was where I thought I could be of service, where my daughter's sick and that could be my hands on her. That's how I could help her in that way. But channeling I really went into this purely for some self love and some self guidance as well, because who doesn't want bestest friend for your greater good and all the time that you can tap into is just ready and waiting.
And I,
And
that is the truth. It really is like Anya is my guide and she represents a team of a spirit team and they always want what's best for us, but they don't come in and dictate what we should do or, they're here to align with what we want as well. So I've found that, it's like having this great cheering squad that sees our potential and when we ask for help, because we have to ask, we have to, you know, I've been doing this for 17 years and I've been channeling. I still get to a point where I get stuck in my own stuff and I can't hear my guide because my head's too active in all my fears. And this is where sometimes we need to reach out to others to get clarity because we can't see the wood for the trees because we're too invested in whatever the resistance is. When someone else can just like, I love this saying that it's like, I can problem, I don't know what it is. And someone else can be like, we hands on your face. Okay. Because we're so close to the problem, we just can't see that thing that's getting in our way. And most of the students I've worked with, it's us. We end up all the resistance in our lives. And when we can, just gently shift that, amazing things happen, and people have these inner resources in order to heal themselves. I don't heal anybody. We hold this space and our guides help us to facilitate this incredible possibility of change and growth and healing. And it's in the presence of love. Like when you have two people, one's willing to change because they're ready, and that's always necessary, it's needed. They've got to be wanting to change, they've got to be willing to move in a different direction. And there's this readiness. They may be shit scared about what's going to happen or whether they can handle it. There's usually fear. I've had people walk in a session, sit down, start crying. It's like, okay, it's all right. That's what happened. But and in the presence of love, and then with these guides and angels, that the universe has a way of just beautifully unfolding and unpacking and releasing the pain. It just happens. Have you experienced that where it's just this shift that takes place and it feels almost effortless? There's usually tears, but it's a relief because they're finally letting go of the pain or they're letting go of the resistance. And once they do and accept and acknowledge and understand what's happened.
I remember most of our group saying, we had either not told very many people we were coming to the call. I couldn't mention it, wasn't really sure what to do. So, but yeah, so it was amazing how well, the synchronicity for sure. Like I had a girlfriend who's in the US and we're quite close, but yeah, she's like, I really feel called to, having you spiritually like at my home birth. It was a beautiful experience of how I could tap in and hold space and not be anywhere physically close to that. It was beautiful. But also, then I could see what she couldn't see. I could see all these beautiful spiritual beings who were, at her feet and there to support. Yeah. Oh, and it is all there and it's amazing. And we all have it within us to be part of that.
Oh, were you doing that remotely? Were you with her home birth remotely?
Yes,
Oh,
in the
right.
US.
Right. And I had the same thing when COVID hit. I was so resistant to not teaching in room because I've always done it that way, and I'm a bit stubborn when it comes to change. Sometimes I resist, and my guide kept coming through and saying, "Love knows no bounds, Lisa. Love knows no bounds." So, and again, it was this powerful experience I had where one of my masters, where spirit was giving us the way in which to move forward and how to adapt all the courses online. And that was Reiki and also the channeling and the intuition courses. It was all, Spirit have taught me all the way from the beginning. None of my workshops are like anyone else's. They're all unique because they're hand delivered to me, how to teach, how to do attunements in groups, how to, channel messages to my individual groups because they always would be life changing. And it was no different when we went from in room to online. And even though I didn't trust and I argued with my guidance, because we do that because we're human, resistance comes up. And I remember going, okay, we'll just wing it. And I did a practice session with one of my masters, Fiona, and we just sat there going, I don't know what we're going to do. We'll just trust that spirit will bring the answers through. And oh my gosh, they did. And the process was channeled through beautifully. And we recorded the session and she experienced the attunement online. And then I said, okay, your turn, you attune me. And so I'm then going, yeah, and she's like, yeah, okay, because I just threw her under the bus. And then I sat there and she did the attunement on me energetically, just following the process that Anya had just given us. And I had this wall of emotion that I'd buried, that I had not been acknowledging. I'd just shoved it aside and kept working, kept busy because I didn't want to put myself literally. This wall of emotion came up out of my body and I couldn't do anything to stop it. And I started sobbing and beautiful Fiona just kept going she was just holding space and finishing the process. And then it was like this waterfall cascade of emotion and grief. It was grief and it just came out and I had tears flooding down. And then in its place came this profound love and it channeled through my entire body all the way down to my feet. And then afterwards, there was other emotional release of, oh my God, this all works. Like I could see the bigger vision of what I'd been feeling and wanting for intuitive Reiki for years, suddenly going, oh my gosh, this is how it's going to happen. It's different to what I thought it would be.
Yeah.
And then having that kind of wave of, oh, this works because I had that visceral physical experience that is undeniable for me. And it really did set that framework for taking all the courses online in 2020 with COVID. And it's been incredible. Like it's been intimate. It's still been life changing.
Yeah.
And the channeling's no different. Same. We started within room. COVID came.
Yeah, we did too. A couple out from home, and we saved time driving there. Could
Brown weather to get you to come into the centre. I'm at work at the moment and we're like, oh, well, we can do it. I'm like, I need to be in room. Let's say it. And it is convenient, isn't it, to be able to.
Yeah, we were all sitting there in our pajamas without, someone had their cat, running past the screen. And it was, but we could still definitely feel each other. Like I could definitely still feel that, like we did sit in a circle, but we could feel that, that space everyone was holding for each other. And I believe that anything spiritual. It's a bit like someone asking you where Reiki is, show it to me. You know, it yeah, well, it's everywhere. Yeah. It's it's a bit like that. It is a personal journey of what you may or may not yet physically experience in the process of channeling or not. So yeah, there was yeah, I didn't feel different or any less supported doing a couple online for sure. That connection is definitely there, and your nurturing angelic wings definitely held space for us as usual.
If there's someone sitting on the fence kind of wondering whether they should come and join the Learn to Channel course, what would you say to them if they're thinking about whether it would be too scary or if they're not sure? Yeah. Do you have any, um, yeah, any
Well,
say to
my insight is that there's always exciting stuff on the flip side of fear, I believe. And
them?
always
Summarize this, isn't it? Get out of here, get uncomfortable. You know, usually the biggest transformations they do happen when we're uncomfortable, isn't it? And the only way you're gonna know is through experience and action. Yeah, we can all
yeah, and everyone's takeaway was also different. Everyone is at different, levels of their journey and or even resistance in a certain
and I'm that kind of teacher that pushes people. I can feel intuitively when someone's ready. I'll push a little bit if I know that it's just fear, but I know that they're ready and there's a part of them that can do it.
yeah.
I have that, that's a blessing of Anya. I know exactly how much to push without, upsetting anyone. And that's really important to me that I hold that nurturing space, that it's still kind. It's really important to me that as a teacher that people feel safe and there have been some students that just weren't ready, but part of their energy was to hold space for the group. And they were almost, or someone that had just recently gone through grief and she was there to be loved by the group. So there's always a reason why someone's drawn to these classes. And sometimes it's not what we think. And usually the ones that end up becoming the most incredible channels and will bring through, mind blowing wisdom are the ones that sat there, didn't think that they could do it and surprise themselves. So there's, every level's tailored for, I think, and the universe and spirit only gives us what we're able to cope with at the time. So, and again, it develops in your own time outside of the course as well. Once you've got that framework, you've got it for life. So when students might not be ready in the course to really fully expand into that channel state, or they were getting channeled messages through their intuition and their clairvoyance, but not quite direct channeling yet, that's fine. They'll come to it when they're ready, or it'll just happen spontaneously in a really gentle, nurturing way. And really, it's us that actually we're the ones that let that happen. No spirit being ever takes us over or does anything against our will. We're always a participating component of that ability to channel. And that's a framework I teach as well. We actually say, yes, I want to, and we invite that experience in. And I'm a conscious channel, so I'm always a part of it. I'm not unconscious and not aware or participating. I see it as we're both in the driver's seat. I'm in the driver's seat, but move to the passenger seat is the best way to describe it. So I'm aware and feeling all those sensations of when the guide comes through in order to directly channel. And that's exciting. It's just an amazing feeling.
And it's working through your individual resistance, I suppose, to when it does come in. And for me, that was a huge part of it. But I didn't even realize there was different ways to channel. Again, that was my trust factor. So if there is anyone out there that does feel, I remember with the Reiki course, I was looking at different stuff online, and it's almost like it was just some might say it's the algorithm, but it would be or something like that. But it was just it kept coming up, and I kept looking at other things. I'm like, no, I'm really drawn to you. And like years on, I do understand why that is. And I'm so, so grateful that I've gotten here and have all this love for myself at the same time. And guidance now as well.
So beautiful. And thank you for being able to be a voice and share for others that have no idea what this means. I could talk until the cows come home about what I teach and how I do it, but it's really important to me that that people considering doing this actually hear from my students and hear what it meant for you in order to learn Reiki and also channeling and how it's helped you in your life. And especially as a mother and having young children, there's so many benefits. I've got Reiki babies. My actual age is out in the is out there waiting for me at the moment. So I better wrap it up. Thank you so much, Avanti. I'm just so grateful that you came on and spoke to everyone today and shared your experience. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I adore you. You're such a beautiful soul, and you brought so much light to the group as well. And just this gorgeous, open-hearted willingness to learn and to discover something new. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I could definitely, feel it right here. That thank you. So yeah, that was beautiful. And I hope people do trust that intuition and follow